My half-sister told a very dangerous lie that could have potentially ruined my life, but she doesn't expect that it will nuke her own family. I was sexually abused between the ages of 9 to 13 by my stepfather. Both he and my mom will be behind bars for many years to come. When I was sent to live with my dad, I was broken. I barely spoke, didn't eat much, if at all. I wasn't mad. I was devoid of any kind of emotion. I was alive, but wasn't living. I kept my interactions with everyone to the bare minimum. I was polite, but didn't go out of my way to make conversation with anyone. I was more social with my dad, but I kept it to a bare minimum. I had nothing left to say to anyone. It took me 2 years for me to be able to allow my dad to show any form of parental affection towards me. That's how withdrawn I had become. Dad was my rock throughout the whole thing. When I experienced night terrors, I would wake up and either find my dad holding my hand or him holding me. He drove me to all of my therapist appointments. He made sure I was eating properly. There were days I would break down for no reason, and he would just hold me and tell me that everything would be okay. He went above and beyond for me. I hated the city where we were living in because I had so many bad experiences there that made living there miserable. I was so passive. It was scary. My therapist had told my dad that I was stuck in the victim cycle. I didn't know how to get out. Because of this, I was bullied quite a bit. By the time I was 15, I had been to 3 different schools. It got to the point where my dad pulled me out of public school and enrolled me into online classes. I was always very studious and managed to maintain a 94% average overall, but my life lacked any sort of direction. Nothing would motivate me. Looking back, Dad did spoil me, but at the time, I wasn't aware of it. I was so in my own body that I barely acknowledged my surroundings. If I asked my dad for a new bedspread, I would get me new one plus new furniture. My phone of 5 years broke, and Dad got a new one plus a laptop. I was grateful and thanked him. I did share with my half-sister and stepsister at the time. Again, I was being polite. I didn't have any form of relationship with my former stepmother, stepsister, or half-sister. I barely knew what it was like being a son at the time, let alone being a brother. By the time I was 16, Dad had approached me and told me that me and him were moving out. I didn't question it. He had asked me to pack my things, and we moved into a rental. I didn't think it was any of my business, so I didn't press the issue. A year later, Dad had divorced my stepmother. One of Dad's business acquaintances offered him a partnership in Boston, and he took it. We moved, and I felt I was ready to start my senior year of high school in a public school. That year was probably the best year of my life. I was coming out of my shell. There was no fear of being judged or being the odd man out. It was if I were like everyone else. I felt normal. I became more social, made a lot of friends, got into sports, clubs. I went out more. We're moving probably saved my life. Because we had moved 9 hours away from my half-sister, she would only come visit us on long weekends, a month during summer break. There was always a form of tension between my dad and my half-sister. You could just sense it. It got to the point where, as she got older, she stopped coming entirely. My dad and I've always been close. When I had graduated from high school and given my valedictorian speech, I could see my dad crying in the crowd. I lived with my dad while I attended college. Ever since I was a child, I have always wanted to be a doctor. Well, I just finished my first year of medical school. Honestly, I feel like a normal young adult in society. I have a job, friends, and a boyfriend whom I've been with for 4 years. I'm thriving in all aspects of my life. Recently, I got FB message from my half-sister. She was apologizing a lot, and I had no clue what she was talking about. Turns out, the reason why Dad and I moved out of my stepmother's home was because my half-sister told my stepmother what I was watching her change. Yes, she told her mom that I was watching her change. At the time, I was traumatized by intimacy. Heck, I was terrified of any form of intimacy. The kid was envious of what Dad was doing for me. She was so envious that she tried to move me out. Well, I guess her mom and my dad got into a big fight, and I'm only going to assume that she did not want me in the house. Because we moved out, I think it's safe to assume my dad didn't believe it. How can someone be so cruel? What did I ever do to her? Those were the questions that were racing through my head. I didn't even respond. More importantly, Dad never let this get back to me. Chances are, if I had heard about this when I was 16, that would have been the final nail in the coffin. It also explains the tension between my dad and my half-sister. This is a lot to take in, and I have a newfound of respect and love for my dad. He gave up this marriage for me so I could live a normal life. Dad's away on a business trip and won't be back for a few more days. I'm missing him a lot lately. Should I bring it up to him when he returns?